Salutations my dear robots and drones. This video was originally a ranking of the Ninjago Core sets from worst to best, but as I kept working on it, this video exploded into a full-blown retrospective. I am your host, NokyaTheRobot, so sit back, relax, enjoy some popcorn, and let's take a look at Ninjago Core. Ninjago Core is one of LEGO's most interesting sub-themes, hated and underlooked by older Ninjago fans for replacing the much more beloved legacy. This sub-theme of Ninjago had one goal: to introduce young children to the world of Ninjago with sets that had questionable canonicity. Ninjago Core also introduced a new system of building mechs and creatures, which has remained a staple of LEGO ever since, which proved controversial in other themes, but was more appreciated in Ninjago. Another idea it introduced was Evo sets that had the option to be upgraded, but let's be honest, you were always going to finish the upgraded build because it was the better looking of the two.
Know your fucking place, trash!
Ninjago Core had Wu featuring prominently in the box art of the sets, which is quite funny considering he is one of the less utilized figures in the sub-theme. Core also featured a series of shorts called The Virtues of Spinjitzu, which we are going to talk about next. Man, don't you guys love shorts of questionable canonicity? Because I sure do not. So, The Virtues of Spinjitzu is a group of 6 shorts released in between Seabound and Crystallized, which is interesting considering that, well, Nia became one with the fucking C at the end of Seabound. So where do these shorts take place chronologically? If you believe them to be canon, that is. Well, that's quite simple actually, because we do see the Keeper's Island again, but not anything related to Merlopia, so it takes place between the final episode of the Keeper's Island arc and the first episode of Seabound proper. Now, what exciting story is being told in these 6 shorts with a combined length of a normal episode? Well, Jay and Kai goof around. Master Wu gets pissed because they broke his wall, and then he gets extra pissed because everyone, yes everyone, has become so flanderized they don't know the 6 virtues of Spinjitzu. So Wu uses illusions to fake himself getting kidnapped by a dragon in order for the ninjas to learn the 6 virtues. Nia and Lloyd do straight up nothing in these shorts. Cole finds balance after remembering his parents dancing. Jay learns to be honest. Zane gives up his arm because generosity, and yeah, that's kinda it. I've watched these shorts 5 times just for this video and I still can't remember much from them. You gotta love that because there were no vehicles for Nia and Cole in the first core wave. They had to give them the tuner car and Kai's mech. Technically Cole did have the trailer from the combined line, but yeah, that one, yeah. Also, neither the snakes from the first wave make an appearance, which is interesting. Overall, the 6 virtues of Spinjitzu are pretty forgettable and you don't miss out on anything by not watching them. The canonicity of Core to the main show universe is questionable, as technically Core was made with the purpose of non-canon sets and an easy introduction to Ninjago for new fans. However, some sets have made their appearance in the show, and even some of the bad guys, but they don't seem to have any memory whatsoever of ever fighting the ninjas, so it's some sort of weird limbo of the builds are canon but the events are not. Don't even get me started on the comics and magazines and the whole discussion if those should be counted as canon. I don't care. They are not canon. Let's move on. Look, I don't consider the 1 4+ set that released alone to be a separate wave, so it's included here. Anyways, wave 1 is certainly a wave of Ninjago, alright? We have some really bad sets like Lloyd's Ninja Mech, or the infamous Ninja Dragon Temple that has a 4+ dragon for Nia, which is a little chunky.
Know your fucking place, trash!
there's also the Ninja Training Center that is dependent on the dojo. Like, it straight up looks like they had to cut part of that set and made it a separate set to fill the required number of sets. The two small Evo dragons have been ridiculed to death, but they are not the worst. They are just painfully mediocre. Jay's dragon is the better of the two in terms of color scheme alone. Kai's is just ugly, especially in the wing department, Jesus Christ. The mediocrity train continues with Lloyd's Evo car, which is essentially the Nightcrawler for people that missed out on the original, and now there is a new car that is the replacement for the replacement, but that's not important. But here is where I think the mid-train ends, for this wave at least. The rest of the sets in this wave are pretty good actually, like Jay and Nia's Race Car Evo, which is an Evo set in name only as it doesn't actually feature an upgrade. This set is a pretty good car build for a character whose only previous car build was the Jaywalker and the Subspeeder, and those sets are kinda mid. And no, the Thunder Raiders don't count as cars, I don't want to hear anything about them. Nia also shares this build with a detachable flyer, but the highlight for me will always be the helicopter. Finally, a sizable build for the bad guys to use. I am personally not a fan of Lloyd's legendary dragon, but I can also admit that it is a good set. Yes, it's the same dragon that kidnapped Woon in the shorts. And yes, it does look a little Toy Freddy chunky, but it's still a good set and a good dragon. Zane's Power Up Mech Evo is by far the most influential set to ever come out from Core, as it brought with it the Evo style mechs, which have remained part of not just Ninjago but LEGO ever since. More on that later. The Ninja Dojo Temple is a really good location build, and this comes from someone that is not a fan of location builds at all. But without a doubt, the best set from this whole wave is the Ninja Ultra Combo Mech, which took the idea of a combiner vehicle like the Ultra Stealth Raider and said, fuck it, let's make it into a mech. And it worked almost flawlessly. The combined mech is towering and is a build that really demands your attention, and even when separated, its constituent parts look great, except for Cole's Driller, that thing looks like shit. But yeah, it's a really good set, so much so that if they sold Kai's mech and Zane's tank as two distinct sets, I would still buy them because they're really good. This set is legitimately one of the best Ninjago sets of all time, and the best set of Wave 1 in my opinion. What you will find with the two waves of Core is that in terms of villains, we return back to the origins of Ninjago with skeletons and snakes. However, the order is flipped. So original. The first wave features Serpentine of a never before seen tribe, simply referred to as the Snake Warriors. We have boas, cobras, vipers and pythons. However, one thing is consistent with them, which is that their color scheme is orange with gunmetal grey and just a little bit of black, which is very reminiscent of the Constricti, but with the new head molds introduced in Secrets of Forbidden Spinjitzu. They are very weird as a faction since they don't even have a leader, so they just feel like a bunch of delinquent teens rather than a serious army. They have some interesting side builds, like this frog mech, this small drill, and this helicopter, but overall, yeah, I am not impressed with them. The villains for Wave 2 are essentially the Skullkin but with normal heads. These are the Green Bone Warriors, or Bone Hunters, whichever you prefer I guess. And compared to the snakes from earlier, they do have a leader in the Bone King. The whole Bone army is pretty similar design wise, featuring mostly black with other colors as highlights. While better than the snakes, I don't think they beat the original Skullkin in terms of personality, and their side builds are not that good except for the mech. Oh yeah, everyone here is pretty cheap, so you can easily army build them if you so want. The real second and very much last wave of Core is pretty interesting. For one, I don't think there is any bad set in it. Even the 4+ set is pretty good and fair, but there are a few mediocre sets like Kai's Race Car Evo, which for one is actually a car build that isn't oversized, but it is so compact it ends up looking like a microfighter. And 2, the build isn't that interesting, it could have been any other ninja that lacks in set representation like Nia or Cole or even Zane, but nope, it's Kai because he sells more. And even then, this isn't the only car he has in this wave, as there is another one in the also mediocre Creative Ninja brick box. Granted, I really like the car build here as it actually looks good. Same for the Nia bike, since it's a Nia vehicle, but damn, the rest is just kinda generic side builds. Sucks this is one of the only ways to get Core Woo, but oh well. Cole's Earth Dragon Evo is also a set that flies really high before crashing down hard, as I think the main body and even the pretty static head actually look good, but then because it didn't have enough budget, the legs are just awful, and the wings are even worse. I also have complaints with the Bone Scorpion, as his stinger tends to fall off really easily. Nia's Water Dragon Evo is also a pretty mediocre set in my opinion for 2 reasons: the neck section and the wings, if you even can call them that. From here, every other set is good, but some still have problems, like Kai's Mech Rider Evo, which was pretty overpriced, but it was a good introduction into the Mech Rider type of sets. Lloyd's Mech Battle Evo was a great set with one Evo mech for Lloyd and one for the bad guys, which everyone should be happy with because we rarely get villains vehicles nowadays. Jay's Lightning Jet Evo is a strong contender for the best $10 build, but its only downside is the cockpit. And then we have 2 phenomenal sets in Jay's Titan Mech and Zane's Ice Dragon Creature. Both of these sets are gorgeous, really great, really well built, but I'm going to say Jay's Titan Mech is kinda skinny, and Zane's Ice Dragon Creature doesn't really need those middle legs at all. Like, you could have easily removed them and made the set cheaper, but for some reason they are here. It's not like you even need them for the alternate build, which yeah, this set for some reason has an alternate build, which yeah, I don't think anyone actually likes that alternative build, but it's there if you really want to do it. So overall, this wave is pretty good. Since its inception, Core was compared to the subteam it replaced, Legacy. It didn't help that before Legacy was discontinued and Core was announced, there were hopes for a 6th wave, so to a lot of people that were hoping for proper remakes of things like the other 3 original Dragons or Jay's Electromech, Core was an unwanted replacement that robbed them of that opportunity, and people haven't let go of that opinion. A lot of the sets were viewed extremely negatively because they weren't Legacy, some more deserved than others, but a lot of the hate was unjustified, and sadly Core never got a chance to stand on its own because of that, and as such it got canned very quickly. If you don't count the separate 4+ set that released alone as a wave, then it only had 2 waves, which is by far one of the lowest numbers of waves for a team in general, and frankly comparing these 2 teams is pretty useless. Both of those teams, or well, sub-teams, are no longer in production. There is no Legacy anymore, there is no Core anymore. I don't find it useful as a discussion to compare 2 sub-teams that had 2 completely separate goals. Legacy was made as an anniversary sub-team. Core was made as an introduction for new fans. So this unwanted comparison between them is just kinda pointless. Why can't we just enjoy sets for what they are? Hey, we already covered the villains, so why not let's go quickly over each of the ninja in their core outfits. Core Zane is so funny to me, bro looks like he is heading to the beach, no sleeves on his shirt, and even has that semi-open pot, like he would fit perfectly at a Balkan barbecue. I really like Core. He's a pretty fire minifig. Shame he's reserved to the dojo, brick box, and the Destiny's Bounty race against time from Dragon's Rising for some reason. Who bought this peak? I will not hear any other opinion on this. Who the fuck are you two? Core Pixel might just be my favorite version of her. Shame she is very much seen in the two most expensive sets and a metal canister for some reason. I almost forgot those existed. Cornea is just kinda fine, no real strong opinions. The main version of Core Lloyd is one of the most uninteresting minifigures that I have ever seen. His golden variant is fine. Unless you count the canister, this minifig is actually exclusive to one set. And the spinner version makes my eyes bleed.
Know your fucking place, trash!
Oh yeah, I guess I never talked about the spinners for Core. They exist. They're kinda forgettable. Core Kai is the minifigure I dislike the most. I don't know, I just straight up don't like it. His spinner version is also kinda mid. I really like Core J. I think he's a solid figure, but dear god, his spinner version is kinda ugly. And Core just exists, I guess. Core's legacy as a subteam will forever live on through the system, character and creature building system, geez that's a mouthful, or just CCBS for short. The new parts introduced have become core parts, no pun intended, in a lot of sets due to just how versatile they are. Not only you can create mechs and all sorts of creatures with relative ease, but they are also very stable and very easy to customize. And even better, they are pretty modular, as you can swap their parts really easily. This whole modular aspect got expanded later into the elemental mech line in Ninjago, which are the definition of modularity in mechs. But this system didn't remain exclusive to Ninjago, no. Teams like Marvel and Star Wars have also implemented the system in some of their sets, providing for the most part cheap sets with relatively good minifigures and an okay build. But yeah, your average Star Wars or Marvel fan doesn't like these sets because everyone in that community is unhappy. Core also gave us a few sets that might have never seen the light of day otherwise. Sets like the Ultra Combiner mech or Jay's Titan mech or Zane's Ice Dragon creature that would have required some kind of reason to implement in the show, often in a forced way, were just made as is and sold, with only some cameos in the show. The Mech Rider line has also expanded with two more sets since then, one that is kinda mid and one that I personally find to be in the top 5 Ninjago sets of all time. Also, you can tell me that Frag isn't at least partially the same species of Serpentine as the Snake Warriors, and he is now part of the main cast. The Greenbone Warriors also showed up in the show, even though their role is minuscule. Even the Combiner mech got another version because it was just that great of a concept. Everywhere I look in modern Ninjago, I can see the subtle yet lingering influence that Core has and what it brought along. When I first found out about Core years ago, I honestly didn't care. I found it boring and uninteresting, but over time it grew on me, and I really enjoyed a lot of the things it had to offer. Sure, it can compare to Legacy or the main show sets, but why do we even need to compare them when we can just enjoy the sets for what they are? Core was a fun sub-team, filled with life and creativity, and it is sad to see it gone, but it has made future Ninjago sets better, so don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. This being said, if you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned for more videos soon. I was your host, Nokia the Robot, and until next time, play Lunacid. Goodbye.
Sticking out your yacht for the Rizzler. You're so skibbity. You're so Phantom Tax. I just wanna be your Sigma. Freaking come here. Give me your Ohio.